Welcome, everybody, to It Tastes Different Gaming News. What's on the news today? Stellar Blade developers concentrate on the important things in life. The developers of Stellar Blade have paid special attention to the character Eve's backside. So, Stellar Blade developers have opened up about their protagonist Eve's character design. As the team's first major console release, Stellar Blade marks a notable evolution from Shift Up's prior works like Goddess of Victory, and I can't pronounce this word, but I'm going to try, Nikki. Attention has turned to the developers' stylistic choices in light of their transitions beyond the mobile sphere. Welcome to the real world. Formerly known as Project Eve, Stellar Blade has garnered ongoing attention since its initial reveal. Developer by Shift Up, a studio transitioning from mobile high-end to the high-end console development. The game aims to deliver a visually striking world and action-oriented gameplay. The recent PlayStation State of Play provided new details. Yeah, that's a whole lot of good crap, but let's get to the important part, shall we? In a recent interview with Games Radar, apologize if I mispronounce his name, Hyung Tae Kim, the game director of Stellar Blade, disclosed that particular attention was paid to Eve's backside. That's slang for her booty. When it comes to the design, we put special attention on the back of the character because the player is always facing the back of the character when they're playing. Designed around the body scan of Korean model Shin Jae-eun. I apologize if I mispronounced that, but I will be looking her up. The design decision for the protagonist was based on the player's perspective, as they predominantly view the character's back during gameplay. All right, so normally this is the point where I'd say, hey, Pat, hey, Nick, what do you guys think? No, I want to talk about this first. So I'm the adolescent of this group by far. And so I find it hilarious, but I also find it actually ingenious because they are correct. This type of gameplay, typically you're always seeing the back of the character. So in that case, why not make it worth looking at? Problem is, if that booty get too thick, I'm not going to concentrate on the battle in front of me. I'm going to be concentrating on the battle behind her. So, but it is an interesting, it's an interesting thought. But looking at the image of her, and I've never met a Korean with a butt like that before, but looking at the image of her, that could be more of a distraction, I think. It's a beautiful looking game, and the character model itself is really nice. But I hope they are concentrating as much on her booty or as much on the game as they are on her booty, because they are coming from a mobile background. That part concerns me, but it does look like an interesting game. It looks like it could be a very fun game. Nick plays like everything, and I believe he's the one who got me to play the Bikini Samurai game. So that's what this kind of reminds me of. The more I read about it, how they focused on her booty and the reasoning why they made her thick. She's thick. So let's go to Pat, because I know Pat likes them thick, but he likes a thick redhead. But, he'll give her a little credit on betting. Pat, what do you think? Is this is this worth the time to put a little extra development on? They can't go gold yet. One of those cheeks out of alignment.
Can you tell we let Shane pick a topic for this?
Told you, child of the group.
I mean, it's an interesting thing to admit, right? In an interview, just to come right out and say, we focused on this. I mean, in today's climate, I can hear it now that there's going to be a bunch of people up in arms talking about sexist and all this stuff. And, it seems like an odd choice to focus on. It's like, okay, cool, you did it, but you got to draw attention to that's what you did. It doesn't sound like whoever was interviewing them, who they were talking to, just outright said it and be like, you know what? She's got a good, big backside. Did you guys do this on purpose? I don't think that's how the conversation went. It almost sounded like this guy was like, let me tell you about what I had contribution to in this game. Did you see the main protagonist? It reminds me of the red dress guy in The Matrix, right? He's like, did you notice the girl in the red dress? I can picture him going on and on about the backside of Eve in an interview. You know, he's the red dress guy from The Matrix, but in his case, it's like, did you notice the backside on Eve? You know, except for he probably had some more colorful language than backside. Everybody's trying to be a little PC, but I'm pretty sure he was like, did you see the badonk dunk on that one? Did you see the dump truck on that one? That was me. I built that. You know?
You could tell how old Pat is because he used the phrase badonk-a-dunk.
I never claimed to be a spring chicken in this group. That's Nick. But even Nick's probably old enough to remember this stuff. So, I mean, games often focus, it's been the concept or the conversation around games and women in games for years. Like, it's the running joke, like women's armor versus men's armor in a game. You know, it's like, hey, look, it's a chainmail vest, and the guy's got a whole chainmail vest on, and the chick just got a chainmail bikini top. And you're like, so I mean, that's what's going to happen, right? So this time they just came right out and said that they were being a little skeevy, right? I'm like, this is what we're doing. It is a mobile developer, and they're like, hey, guess what? You got a bigger screen to see more backside. So now we can show off those enhanced glutes. I don't know. I'm more interested to see how this mobile developer shift up is going to actually make a game, and is it going to be worthwhile? Because I'm like, I'll be honest with you, I hadn't heard crap about this game until this article, and I'm like, what is this game? And I looked at it, and I'm like, okay, it looked kind of interesting. And then I read some articles where they were basically they're saying, hey, we're not going to have like, there's going to be no paid cosmetics and things like that in the game is what I had read in articles on. I'm like, okay, so they're basically breaking the mold of a mobile developer then. So I kind of wonder what else they've done. So I'll keep an eye out for it. I think it comes out April of this year, or does it come out sooner than that? April. So I'm not going to buy a game because it's full of well-endowed women or anything. That's not something that drives me to buy a game. I'll buy a game if I feel like it's going to be, what's that?
Dead or Alive.
I actually don't own that. So I know what the Girls of DOA is, but I don't own it. But
I know what you're getting for your birthday.
But you guys know that I don't like fighting games, so that kind of throws that type of game right out the window. And I'm like, just because it's got scantily clad women doesn't mean I'm going to buy the game. Gameplay, story, that kind of stuff drives me to buy a game. Like, so.
Do you like volleyball?
I don't want to play a game of volleyball. No, just like I don't want to play a game of football. The only sports games I like are Mutant League games because they're funny. So I don't have any desire to play any sports game. And I guess if you consider back in the day the old Wii Sports, there's probably volleyball in one of those, wasn't there? The old Wii Mote, So, but to me, I'm like, that seems like a weird thing to gloat about and to point out of your own game. It's like, okay, if it's there, cool. Let everybody see it and let everybody draw their own conclusions. But I highly doubt. I mean, I don't know. I've not seen pictures of the model yet. And I've seen some screen art rendering of the game. And I'm like, so is this model really built like that? Or did he take her and go, let me drag some edges out here and let me out of proportion some of this stuff? When I read the article, I was just scratching my head going, why call that out? Do you want feminist groups against you? Do you want all the people that are going to be like, this is a sexist game calling you? I mean, I guess in their eyes, no press is bad press, right? I mean, I'd be honest, I didn't hear about this game until this article came out, and I'm like, what is this all about? So it's working, I guess. I now know who they are and what game they're making. I didn't know they were a mobile developer before this because I didn't know who the hell they were. So no press is bad press for them in this instance. Shane will probably buy the game. Now we know. But Nick,
collector's edition.
Yeah, he's going to get the enhanced edition, right? The extra wide edition.
Comes with the pillow.
Does a big badonkadonk entice you to buy a game, Nick? Are you going to buy a game for that? Does that dump truck bring you to the yard?
No, it does not.
Liar.
Hey, Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball was a great game. I'm just going to put it out there. It doesn't. This game does look pretty good, though. I mean, watching the gameplay, it looks pretty good. Now, will it be good? I don't know, because I mean, gameplay is one thing, and actually playing it's completely different, right? We've seen gameplay of games that you're like, oh wow, this is gonna be cool, and then you play it, and you're like, wow, this sucks.
I don't think you saw any of the gameplay. That's why you think it looks good. You didn't see the gameplay. It was distracted.
Yeah, I mean, they showed off a lot more of the gameplay in the last State of Play, but they've shown this game off before. I think a year or 2 years before they showed this game off. And she, when the very first time that they showed the trailer for this game, at the very first State of Play a couple years ago, not the recent one, but like a few years ago or whatever. I mean, that was the protagonist's booty was pretty much predominant back then. Even, I mean, that was like the first thing I noticed was like, gosh, they really focused on that part, didn't they? I mean, I guess, focus on your demographic, right? I mean, even though, women play video games, but the percentage of male gamers is still on the high end for gaming, right? It has been for years, and it probably will continue to be that way, right? Women in gaming have gone up significantly from what it used to be, but so you got to focus on your demographic, I guess, in that part. But I mean, you don't have to do something like that, but whatever, it is what it is. I mean, like Pat said, it's been around forever. I mean, you look at Tomb Raider, right? Luckily for Tomb Raider, that even though Lara Croft was well endowed, Tomb Raider was a good game, right? It's fine if you want to make a protagonist like that, as long as you make the game good, right? Because if your protagonist looks attractive or whatever, it doesn't really matter if your game then sucks, right? Because it doesn't matter how great it looks or how much you focus on the backside of whatever. If your game sucks to play, no one's going to play it. No one's going to care. They're not going to go out and buy it or, play the game because of this aspect. No pun intended. I'm not really looking forward to this game. I'm interested, right? I don't think it'll be something I'll buy out the get-go. It depends on what the reviews say. So I'm probably going to wait for the reviews to kind of hit and see what critics say about the game. And if critics seem to like the game, then I'll probably end up picking it up. So it is on my radar as far as like just keeping track of this game and when it's going to release and seeing how it does, because it's an action RPG. So it's, as far as that goes, it's out my alley as far as the type of game it is. But, whether or not it's going to be good or not, I don't know. Like I said, the last State of Play, the combat and everything looked good, because that was what I was worried about. Right. So when they showed it off again and they showed the combat off and everything, I was like, okay, this looks like it might be fun to play. But again, video compared to actually having a controller in your hand and playing the game is two different things. But I mean, they're right. You're always going to look at the back of the character. I mean, we do the same thing, right? When we play games, 9 times out of 10, we create a female character, right? And that's just because we'd rather, if the camera's going to be panned out behind the character, we would rather see something we're more attracted to or whatever than looking at some dude's butt, roaming around, some muscular guy. We don't really, some people pick a character that's more like them, right? So they try to pick a male, if it's a guy, they pick a male character that kind of looks similar to them. And some people play the opposite sex, regardless of if they're male or female. They might play the opposite sex in a game because they're attracted to the opposite sex, and therefore they want to play something that they're attracted to, right? And something to look at, other than a guy. And for me, I usually pick a girl or create a girl in most games. It depends on what the game is, right? Some games I might choose a guy just because of the game, as far as like, protagonists in the game, or just how the story, there might be 2 different stories for a male and a female. And maybe I'm like, I just want to experience the male story. and then maybe I'll experience the female story or something like that. So, I'll pick one or the other, or, hey, I'm just going to play as the dude because his, maybe I looked online and his story follows a certain route and I want to go that route. So I'm just going to choose that person for that particular reason. Right. So there's different factors that come into it. But if you have a straight game that gives you the option, male or female, and it doesn't really matter story wise, then, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to choose a female for that very reason. So the developer, they did what they did. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird to point that out. I guess they're just trying to, not that it's not like people didn't notice. Come on, man.
Well, when I saw the very first trailer, I didn't notice her padunkadunk. I looked for her personality. And I couldn't find it because of that padunkadunk. So
he couldn't see around it. He was like,
it's like,
yeah. So, I mean, this game looks a lot like a cyberpunkish Bayonetta, Devil May Cry type game. So hack and slash. So, I mean, it might be pretty cool. It's worth keeping an eye on, right? I mean, this is their first non-mobile game, which is kind of scary, which is why I'm not like chomping at the bit, but it looks pretty cool. I did watch that while you guys were chatting. I did watch like the original release trailer and this one, and it looks enhanced. It doesn't look the same. So I'm like, okay.
The latest trailer from the last day I played definitely looks better than the first one.
Yeah. So, I mean,
she got implants.
Yeah, she got the BBL or whatever it is.
That's where she put all her stats.
Yeah, all her stats went in their butt. Okay, gotcha.
I mean, you just think of like Near Automata, right? That one, like what's her name? B2 or whatever.
Oh, the chick that's in the torn up like negligee when you find her. Right?
No, you're thinking of Near the other one.
Oh, I'm thinking of the last one that we played.
Yeah. No, the one that
the chick in all black.
Yeah, like her, I mean, they do this a lot in these games, right? I mean, you play as her, she's, and that character model has been used in a lot of like risque stuff, online, and even like statues they make for her and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's not like this is the first time for gaming to do something like this.
Well, the Asian developers, the Asian markets, they're not as apprehensive about these things. They're not as butthurt about big butts. I mean, it is what it is. But I'm like you. If I have the opportunity to create a character, and it's not a character that affects the story by any means, I will always create a female character. It's not because I'm alpha male or anything. It's just I would rather look at a female. I mean, it's just me. Mass Effect. Amazing game, amazing story, amazing characters, amazing. I always play as a femme shepherd. Why? Because I would rather be looking at a female, for 47 hours of gameplay than, some dude. And now, granted, that, that does kind of slightly affect some of the scenes because, you're falling in love and, making out with other characters. So, you're basically a lesbian throughout the game. I have nothing wrong with that. So I would rather see female characters. Now, if it's a character that's going to affect the game, Resident Evil, for instance, pick a boy character, pick a girl character. It's two different stories, essentially. I always started with the female character. Just me. I mean, it's just the way I am, the way I'm built. So, but it is funny that the guy was like, we threw a few extra polygons in that pooper. So, her clapper snapper is going to look real good when you play. I mean, it's just a weird thing to just, focus a little extra on. I would have focused on some gameplay or some, costumes, additional weaponry, enemies, some people like the booty. So, but
this
that's
episode
all right.
Brought to you by Shane.
That's right.
They turned the age limit to 99.
Yeah. I mean, but
if you don't know
like
that reference, you need to look it up.
Like we were talking about Nier, what is it? Kane? I can't remember her name, but she's always in scantily clad outfit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you get that a lot more with, the Asian market. When they toned down Tomb Raider, Lara Croft's character, they started no pun intended, they started to streamline her. Her character design But nobody said nothing. Well, nobody of importance really said anything because the game was still amazing. I mean, you still had people go out there, well, the movies are, rectangled, they're round. What's wrong with the world? You had those people out there complaining, but the games are so amazing. I didn't focus on those types of things. Yeah, it was hilarious, that some people had those reactions, but the gameplay is what makes a game, not how round a bud is. So, hopefully these guys can take their first foray into the console market and make it a solid one, because the game, it's on my radar. It looks really interesting. It's, it's got a really, positive outlook on it. So hopefully it'll pan out, and it'll end up being a really good developer. So that's what I'm really hoping for. So you guys got anything else before we slap this one out of here?
Nope. As you could see, sex still sells.
Yes,
and no press is bad press, because even though they're talking about this, everybody now is putting them on the radar, because I didn't have a clue about this game, to be honest with you. It wasn't on my radar.
And I did look up the young lady who does the modeling for her. And she's absolutely breathtaking.
I bet you did.
She doesn't have all that going on in the back. So you take that with a grain of salt. But anyways, you made it to the end. Tell us what you think. Do you like big booty? Do you like them in your games? Do you feel that sex still sells? Do you feel like a main protagonist design affects whether or not you want to purchase a game or even play a game? Because every protagonist is different throughout games. Cinema Saga, this character is not developed to be a sexy look at me DOA character. She is a serious character in an amazing series, at least first game. So, I mean, do you feel like you were affected by character models? And, do you think a few extra polygons in the back end, they're going to, persuade your decision? So maybe a 12-year-old me would have, but as a much, much, much older gamer me, it doesn't persuade me as much, but I still like to look. So anyways, you made it to the end. Hit those notifications, hit those likes, hit that subscription, tell your friends. Make sure you tell your friends, because they'll want booty talk. And until next time, see ya.